Chapter 7. The whole school is ours. Inside the classroom, Fiona and the rest were looking out the window wondering what Salma and Layshawn were doing. A lot of things went through Fiona's mind. I wonder if my family is doing all right, she thought as she looked at the many zombies roaming the streets. The others looked depressed, especially Ashley. She was on her final year and her sponsors were happy with how she was coming through. Ashley had excellent grades and the school trusted her enough to make her the school president. Just like Layshawn, she was an orphan. She had a little brother who stayed at the orphanage that was far downtown called the Blessed Hands Orphanage. She stayed all night thinking about her little brother and worried for his safety. The orphanage's security wasn't that good and that's what troubled her. Looking at how Salma and Layshawn were together made her miss her little brother even more. As Fiona was deep in her thoughts, she saw Layshawn running around the school in a zombie-killing spree. He is crazy, that's all she could think of him. Truly there was no need for a DNA test. That is Salma's brother for sure. Both had something loose in their heads. Speaking of the devil, Salma appeared on the hole in the wall and said, "The floors are clear and as you can see Layshawn is taking care of the ones outside." Finishing what she wanted to say, she turned around and left. Seeing this, Fiona quickly followed behind her. "Are you planning on staying?" Fiona asked Salma as she hurriedly joined her. "We have no particular place to go, and since my brother is here, I don't intend on leaving him. I'll go wherever he goes, that's how it's been our whole lives," Salma replied without looking back. "Huh? What about your parents and relatives?" Fiona asked. "Our parents are dead and we don't have any relatives." Salma's reply made Fiona halt her steps and hold her mouth. Sorry. "Don't worry, it's been a long time, I forgot about it," Salma interrupted Fiona's apology. "Then how have they been surviving out there on their own?" Fiona had this question, but she didn't have the courage to ask. "Do you mind going to the shower with me?" Salma asked as she clasped Fiona's hands and made puppy eyes. "Yeah, sure thing," Fiona replied awkwardly. "Is she afraid of showering alone?" "No way, she just ran out into the zombies before." Pushing it to the back of her head, they entered the girls' shower, but since the electricity was out they had to shower with cold water, something that didn't bother Salma. Fiona was quick to set things up, the toiletries, the towels, and all those girly things that they can't live without. When everything was set up, she went into the bathroom and was surprised to see the water in the bathtub evaporating. Where did she get hot water? Amidst her confusion, Salma striped and slipped into the huge bathtub. "Make haste, the water will get cold," Salma said. Fiona peeled her clothes off and joined Salma. As usual she started scrubbing and all that while Salma stared at her. Fiona's cheeks were getting redder every second and wondered why Salma was staring at her. "I've never showered with anyone else except my brother, so is it true that girls have their own way of showering?" Salma asked, curiously. On hearing Salma say that she has only showered with her brother, her eyes widened and her heart started beating loudly. Maybe I'm getting this all wrong. It wouldn't hurt to give her the benefit of doubt, Fiona thought. "I know what you are thinking, but that's not it. When my parents died, Layshawn took all the responsibilities when we were younger. He showered me how Mom used to and taught me how to do everything else. We didn't have a bathroom to go to, so we usually showered in the river. It's only recently when Layshawn started earning that we got a house with a bathroom inside," Salma clarified. Fiona deep sigh of relief and her emotion was replaced by sadness. Just what did they go through to be like this? Boo-hoo, I get it, she want me to teach her how a lady should shower. Outside, I stood by the closed gates and looking out into the streets. The zombies were walking around aimlessly and they didn't seem to tire. They would occasionally charge at a car that'd set off its alarm and scratch it furiously. It seemed that the news anchor was telling the truth. The zombies ran after anything that made a sound and constantly sniffed the air. I called out the system and went toward the lucky draw cards. "Let's see whether Lady Luck want a date with me," I said as I activated the 3 cards in my inventory. "Congratulations, you have received 2 ability cards. An ability card is an extremely rare item that gives the user an ability. The first card had a picture of a scope and the word target drawn and written on it, and the other one had a drawing of a monk sitting down in a meditative form. I flipped the first card that had a scope drawn on it and read the instructions written on the back. This card gives one the ability to have great aim while using firearms. Note that this ability only works with firearms. The second card with the monk heightens one's sense of hearing, touch, taste, smell, and sight. Congratulations, the final lucky item is a maize grain. I took the tiny seed from the inventory and threw it out of frustration. Stupid system. Hey, raise your intelligence first before you call me stupid. The system was getting pissed off. I am starting to think that someone invaded my head pretending to be a system. Systems don't have emotions, right? I walked into the school front door and reinforced it with several tables and chairs after nailing the door shut in place. Now if a zombie tries to come in, we might get a chance to hear it and run, hide or fight. Going up the stairs, I found Agatha coming from the girls' shower. Hey, where's Salma? I asked. She went to the school field together with the rest. This was the first time hearing Agatha speak, and her voice matched her small cute size very well. I felt like pinching her cheeks and playing with them. Can I ask you something? I tried to lengthen the conversation. I am 18 years old and no, you can't touch my face yet, she said without turning back. I seemed to have pissed her off, which I don't judge her. She must be tired of getting that question all the time from everyone. How she knew I was going to ask her that question, I don't know. I took a paper from the school notice board that had directions to each and every place. I located the boys' shower room, and as I was on my way, I also realized that the school had a good defense. The school was one huge block that formed the letter U, the front of the school being the base and the two sides stretched away from the city. On the other side was the huge school's outdoor field, and a lake separated the school from the forest that wrapped around the sides of the whole school. I consider this school being safe because of its location, which was at the end of the city, and how it overlooked the city like a king's castle. After taking a quick shower, I went through several lockers that were in the changing room and found a full set of the school's track suit. It was a little bigger and made me look like a little kid trying out his father's clothes. I folded the sleeves and trouser, and boom, problem solved. I threw the clothes that I had earlier in the dustbin and left for the cafeteria. The last meal I had was yesterday's breakfast, and even though my stomach had gotten used to it, I'm still human. It was almost noon, so I hoped the food hadn't gone stale already. When I was about to open the door, I heard a sound coming from inside the cafeteria. The axe materialized on my hand as I removed it from the inventory. As I slowly opened the door, I raised my axe and slashed it downwards, hoping to decapitate the zombie in front of me when it turned and looked at me with cheeks full and a banana at hand. Using great effort, I stopped the axe inches away from Alan's neck. "Ah! It's me, don't kill me!" he cried out, closing his eyes and raising his hands, waiting for the impending doom. On seeing that nothing happened, he opened his eyes, inspecting himself. After confirming that he is all right, he looked up and tried to speak. Cough. Cough. He started coughing wildly while holding his neck. I stood behind and gave him a hearty punch on the back that made him puke everything he ate and the food that was choking him, and collapsed on the floor. Yikes, I forgot my strength is not the same. I bent and picked a bucket of water, pouring it over Alan to wake him up. He jolted up quickly and wiped his face. He was breathing profusely and his eyes were wide open like that of an ogre. "Calm down, champ, everything's fine," I said while patting his back. He turned and looked at me with a face written fear all over. Great, just great. He probably thinks I'm his savior and wants to thank me with his life. In Alan's perspective, he thought that he was dead and Leishan was the Grim Reaper who came for him.